On this week's video, we're going to tackle the challenges of owning naughty Cocker Spaniels. Hi, my name's Charlie Thorburn. Welcome to Mordor Gun Dogs. On this week's video, we are going to tackle the challenges of having naughty Cocker Spaniels. We've got two little cockers who are in for training. They're both girls. Neither of them are ours. They've both been brought up in a sort of family environment, probably given way too much freedom, a little bit cheeky, a little bit naughty. They've both been here for slightly different amounts of time. We're going to take them out on a training session, totally prepared. I haven't had them out in this area for a while. I haven't had them out training for a few days, slightly on purpose, but also because it's pretty blooming cold. So I just want to go out with them and show you, how we handle these naughty dogs and the sort of things that probably you are seeing all the time, and sometimes realizing and sometimes not realizing. So I'm going to go and grab the first one, and then we'll head down to the field. So this little dog is Bracken. Sit. 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 So there you go. The first thing, what does a cocker want to do? They're like, oh, you can't mean I'm needing to behave. You must mean you want to kind of talk to me. I haven't seen you today. Sit. Heel. So you've got to get straight on their case. You've got to be on it. You can't sort of stand there letting them jump up, letting them mess around, thinking, oh, they're cute, and oh, well, they're okay, they mean well. No, they don't. They mean bloody mischief, okay? So you've got to be on them straight away. Bracken, sit. Heel. Eye contact, really important. Now, when I'm going for a walk with a young dog, you can see this little girl's heeling as she's doing okay. She's been here for about 4 weeks. And she is very much kind of understanding the concept of heel, but she's just constantly pushing her luck. Sit. Now, if I come down here with her and she's sit, and she's not walking to heel, she's not paying attention, there's absolutely zero point in going into the field or thinking about letting her off or anything else. I've got to get her walking, paying attention, listening to me, looking at me, and actually engaging with me, because you're not engaged with me. As soon as she's through that gate, she's just off. Sit. Bracken. Heel. So I say her name, I get her to look at me. Hopefully she does. I'm just going to walk up and walk back again. Heel. Bracken. Heel. Bracken. Heel. 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 Sit. So we're walking along. I'm being really strict with her, walking to heel pretty smartly. I'm being quite strict with her, getting her to sit as soon as I say sit or I blow the whistle. Sit. And she's just still, she's itchy, she's ready to go, she's ready to go. So you can see, even after, a good period of time of having her here for training, we're still having to really concentrate on her. And just to give you a bit of background, this was a little dog that when I first brought her into this field, she just ran around 150, 200 yards away doing her own thing. She certainly wasn't for coming back. Not in a bad way. She wasn't like running off. She was just like, woohoo, running around like Forrest Gump, just for the sake of running. And when I called her back, she just looked at me. Sometimes, half the time, didn't even acknowledge that I was calling her. And then her heel work was just non-existent. She was pulling at any opportunity all over the place. And it's taken a long time and a lot of work to get her to do this. And this is going back to the title. This is the reality of owning a young cocker. I think people expect this stuff just to happen overnight. Oh, I went for a lesson or I watched a video and it's just, why isn't it working? I've been doing this for a month and I'm like, I'm not, because this is my job and I love it and I love the challenge, but it can be draining. It can be hard work, and especially for us because we've got loads more that we need to take out. But it's just repeating it over and over again. We've been on the lead now for about 5 minutes and she's still sort of itching, chancing her arm, not fidgeting. She's like a little kid. As I always say, Cocker Spaniels are like little boys with ADHD. She just can't sit still. She can't just sit there like a nice little Labrador who just love you and, oh, I wouldn't do anything wrong. She's like, come on, oh look, there's a bird, oh look, there's something dropped, oh there's a leaf, oh there's some frost, oh I'm gonna have a scratch, oh I don't know what else to do. That's how their mind works, or doesn't work, depending on which way you want to look at it. Right, I'm going to let her off in a minute. As soon as I let her off, I'm going to call her back. I'm going to let her off again, I'm going to call her back, and I'm going to be on her case. So the first thing to do is take the lead off, put it back on again, take it off. Now she's very much looking at Ian. Ian's the focus, not me. I'm not going to let her go until she looks at me. Bracken. Good girl. Bracken. Off you go. So when she's running around, I am not taking my eyes off her. I'm watching her body language, watching what she's up to. Good girl. Good girl. You go. Now, we've done 2 very simple recalls. She ran off that way, I called her back, encouraged her. As soon as she came back, gave her a little bit of praise, let her go again. Good game's a quick game. I don't want to like call her back and go, oh God, I better put her on the lead, because then she's going to learn, oh, every time I come back, I go on the lead, and I don't want to do that. So I want to be treating her like a yo-yo. She's out and back, out and back, out and back. I want to do 10, with a dog like this, I want to do 10 to 12 recalls in the first minute of letting her off the lead, okay? Then I'd probably put her back on the lead and do a bit more heel work. Then I'd let her off the lead and do 5 or 6 recalls, and I'd just slowly wind it down and relax as I see her behaving. But as soon as I see her body language change, I'm ready for it, because I'm watching her all the time. I'm never being complacent. When she was just sniffing in and around the grass here a minute ago, she was just kind of like sniffing around, fine. But if I see her kind of like, whoa, and she goes up a few gears, I'm calling her back, I'm doing something about it. I'm ready for it to go wrong. Sit. Bracken. Off you go. If she goes behind me, I run away. If she goes in the other direction, I run away. I'm constantly making it about me. And then her coming back to me, she gets a bit of praise. Good girl, come on then. And it's fun being with me. I'm engaging with her. She wants to have something to do. Little boys are naughty when they're left to their own devices. She's not a little boy, but she's like a little boy. They're naughty when they're left to their own devices. Now there was a moment there she hasn't listened. Come on then, good girl. Come here. There's a moment there she didn't listen. I gave her the benefit of the doubt, and I only did that because I know her, okay? And she can be a little bit, hey. She can be a little bit airy-fairy. So I gave her the benefit of the doubt in case she had just gone, oh yeah, well, sorry, I wasn't listening, because that's her personality. And you can see she's had a little bit of free time, a little bit running around, and as soon as I put her back on the lead, she's pulling, she's tugging, she's like, oh, this is boring. I'm having to get back on her case again. She's not just coming in, lead on, oh, I'm relaxing. And that's why we're having to do all this stuff regularly. We're having to let her go, call her back, put her on the lead, let her go again, call her back, put her back on the lead. Do different things all the time, because we can't get complacent and think, oh, well, we've done the heel work. We did that for the first few minutes of the walk. Now we're doing off the lead. I'm constantly changing what I'm doing, because I don't want her thinking, I know what happens. I get to that gate and I get off. I get to that tree and I chase a pheasant. I get up to the gorse bush and I disappear. I don't want her learning any little traits like that. Now we've done a bit of obedience with her, we're going to just wind it down a little bit and just go for a bit more of a walk. I've not gone more than 100 yards from the gate into the field, because I'm just keeping her on her toes. Now I'm going to just relax a little bit. I'm not, but I'm going to give that impression to her that I'm relaxing a little bit and we're going for a bit more of a walk. Bracken, off you go. Still, always my focus is on her. I'm watching her all the time. If I feel like I need to speed up to keep her with me, I do that, but I'm letting her be a dog. I'm letting her have a bit of time. Now I've got a good setup here. I've got a really good fence running down that side, so this is really limited. She can't get into that wood. She can't run off that way. So my only danger zone is on this side. So as long as she's not getting too far out to this side, I can be relaxed. I can just let her, to a certain degree, be a spaniel, be a little dog. And every so often, hey. Every so often, just call her back. Off you go. Call her back, give her a bit of praise, let her go again. You can see when I'm giving her a little cuddle, a little bit of attention, she loves it. She's like, oh, you know, just fairly typical little cocker, always needing attention, always wanting some attention. So we're going to leave the security of the fence, go off into the big wide open world. What I'm looking for now is for her to stay within a metaphorical arm's reach. I don't want her more than about 25 meters from me at the very most. Preferably I want her about 10 or 12 meters from me. Because she's staying in that zone, I'm allowing her to stay in that zone. I'm not bothering her. I'm letting her just be a little dog and run around, but I'm just ready that she's outside my little zone that I create, my imaginary hula hoop that I've got to create a boundary. As soon as she's outside, I'm ready to call her or I'm ready to get on her case. But I'm barely even turning around to look at the camera because I'm just watching the dog all the time. And to give her due, she's being a lot better than I expected her to be. Come on then. Now, watching her now, she's got her nose on something. She's a bit of a distance from me. My first thing I do is I try and walk away to encourage her to come to me. But I just feel like she's getting out with my zone. So I'm just going to... Hey, 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 hey. Hey, hey. Good girl. Come here. Come here. Bracken. Come here. Bracken, come here. Hey, 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 hey. Bracken. And there you go. So she's having a little cocker moment. She's thinking, bugger this. I'm going to mess around. Come here. Come here. Come here. But you can see I'm reading her body language. I'm ready to get after her. As soon as she's not listening, I'm getting towards her. I'm putting a bit of pressure on her. As soon as she comes back to me, I'm encouraging her. What you've got to be really careful of is if the dog's running over there and ignoring you, you're not standing there going, good girl, come to me, good girl. Because she's not being a good girl. She's being a little... But you've also got to be careful that if she's coming back to you, you're not going, oi, 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 come here, because actually you're giving her a mixed signal. The simple thing is, if a dog's not looking at you and facing the opposite or going in the opposite direction, and you've called them and they ignore you, you need to get out there, growl at them like I was just now, and then as soon as they're coming back towards you, you need to lower your body language and back away. The problem I've got with Bracken here, the problem I've had from day one, is she hasn't been taught any sort of body language concept by her owner. So she doesn't understand what I'm doing when I run out after her. And I have had to do it a few times. And we kind of, by getting after her and encouraging her back, getting after her again, encouraging her back, she did start to learn what I was talking about, and her reaction as to what to do really switched on. And she started, as soon as I was coming, she was like, oh dear, and she started to react, come back towards me, and then I'd encourage her back in, and she would listen and she'd come back in. I've not had to do it with her for about 10 days because she's been reasonably good. And then just then, she didn't have that full, she didn't ignore me. When I was growling at her, she did sort of circle back and come my way, but she didn't have that instant like, oh yes, sorry. And that's something that is a big problem with a dog if they don't understand that. If you see us with any of our own dogs that we've reared and looked after, if we take a couple of paces towards them, they go, oh dear, they suck between their teeth and like, oh God, here he comes. Now, it's not fear, because if they were scared, they'd run the opposite direction. It's a kind of understanding that they've broken the rules. It's exactly the same as you're doing something naughty and the teacher walks in and you're like, sorry miss, or you're doing something naughty and your wife catches you and you're like, oh sorry. It's that understanding of that you are doing something wrong, and the problem we've got often when we see these young dogs, especially Cocker Spaniels, they've just been allowed to get away with it. The owner's answer is, oh, they're too quick for me, I couldn't get after them. But they haven't gone to any effort of teaching the dog any sort of body language, any human negative body language, because all they show them is the good girl. And the problem is, as I keep saying to people, if there's no negative, there can't be a positive. If there's no good, there can't be evil. If there's no light, there can't be dark. You've got to have one to have the other, okay? So there has to be a negative. There has to be something that they realise that's not right. Me going towards them at 6'3", what are you doing? That's a negative. Me backing away from them, good girl, that's the positive. Sit. Now, when she was being a bit naughty, hey, come here. Good girl. Now, I'm not sure whether Ian got any of that, because it was complete. It's obviously everything we do is completely unscripted, because we've got no ideas what these little monkeys really are going to do next. But that was a perfect example of her sort of understanding my body language, but not totally. She ran away, she was running away and I was going towards her, and then there was a little moment where she stopped, saw me and thought, oh, I'll run away a bit more because it's funny, and you could see she had a little skip in her step and a little bit of what are you going to do about it? And then I just put a bit more pressure on her, and then I saw her turn again, and as soon as I saw her turn again, I'm then backing away, good girl, and she reacted the right way and she came back to me. But it's so hard to teach that timing. It's really interesting because we see people who come up for lessons and they get the timing, and we see people who come up and they just don't get it. And sometimes you look at a dog and you look at an owner and you're just like, those two are just never going to work out. And it's really hard, because to turn around to someone and say, look, you're never going to manage this dog. You're going to have them on a lead or a long line or whatever for most of their life. Or it's really hard for someone to say. And ultimately, when we give someone a sort of brutal honesty like that, most people are going to go, well, he can't help it. He doesn't know what he's talking about. I'm going to go and find someone who can. And I really hope they do. I really hope they do find someone who can help them. But the way we train dogs and our understanding of dogs, it is all about timing. And if you don't get that timing right and you're just not able to read your dog, you're really going to struggle. And for all the will in the world, some people just can't be taught timing. We've got one particular person who comes for a lesson, and they've been coming for a lesson for a while. And I mean, I haven't got any hair left, but everyone else is sort of tearing their hair out with it, because they're not going home, and they're not going home and practicing and trying to improve. They're literally just almost like they're coming here for a day out. And they're terribly nice people and things, but it's very frustrating because we just see their dog, and as soon as we take the lead, the dog's like, oh yes, you make sense, I'm going to listen to you. So the dog understands it, the dog gets it, and the owner doesn't. And it goes back to my regular favourite saying, there's no such thing as a bad dog, just lots of bad owners. So body language is really key, and that was a good example. If we've got that right on the camera, that's a good example of how this little dog just doesn't quite get it, like so many of our little dogs. And what's interesting about her is she's not running away and just saying, screw you, I'm off, I'm on a scent. She's almost playing. She's like, oh, this is funny. Oh, he's chasing me. And then she's like, oh, maybe he's not meant to be chasing me. Maybe that's not a positive, that's a negative. And and then she kind of clicks, and I call her back. And it's really hard. It's really hard to show somebody how to get that just right with their own dog. Anyway, I hope this has been helpful, and we're going to have another little dog out and probably do a separate video, because I feel like this one's been pretty long already. We're going to get another little dog out just to show you a very similar thing. So maybe that'll be next week's or something like that, and you'll have to wait for that. But in the meantime, hopefully that this has given you some little insights into the difficulty even we have here. There's no point coming out with a beautifully behaved dog. I could go and get 2, 3, 4, half a dozen really well behaved little cockers come out. They'd react perfectly to my body language, but I feel like it's more useful for you guys to see very much a work in progress. Her owner's coming to see her and get some lessons, and I feel like probably she's going to have to stay longer, but hopefully the owner will get a good understanding of where their little dog's at, and they'll learn something, and maybe they'll be able to watch this and learn something as well. Thanks for watching. Remember, you get out what you put in, and with a little dog like this, you have to put in a lot.